Your about page is actually not about you at all. It's about how you're the right person to help your client. And when you get this right, it can seriously help boost sales. We're not doing this by sharing a LinkedIn resume or an info dump of all your amazing credentials. We're doing this by sharing a story that also highlights your credentials and really speaks to their pain points. So in today's video, I'm going to share an easy to follow 5-part about page formula to help you write the most perfect about page ever, complete with prompts and specific examples to follow. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'm also sharing a fatal mistake that you might not even know is sabotaging your sales. So how do we do this? Well, first, here's an example of what we're not doing. And I'm going to put it on the screen for you to follow along and just skim it for you. My name is Sarah, and I'm a certified postpartum doula based in the greater metropolitan area. I hold certifications in newborn care, lactation education, postpartum support, and I have over 6 years of experience working with families, blah, blah, blah. Does it check all the boxes? Yes. We know where she lives. We know about her experience. We know she's done this before. But do you feel connected to her in any way? Probably not. It reads a little bit more like a cover letter or even an email intro, more so than an about page, and how this is the right person that you want to hire. It lists a bunch of facts, but it lacks heart and soul. And most importantly, it's not really bridging the gap between the reader's struggle and how she can be the solution. So how do we do this? First, we start with an attention-grabbing headline that highlights their pain points. A simple writing prompt for this that you may want to follow is, I help you go from this to that without, whatever the drama or the hurdle or the challenge would be. So here's an example to follow from like a closet organizer. You might say something like, I help you take your closet from chaos to streamlined so you never have to stress about having nothing to wear again. Now, this doesn't just say what she does. As a closet organizer, she could have just said, I will come in and organize your closet. Like that's actually what she's doing. Instead, we're focusing on the transformation. And the transformation here isn't like, I cleaned, threw out a bunch of clothes that you're not wearing anymore. The transformation is not having the stress about having nothing to wear again, because the client is overwhelmed by having all these things and not actually being able to see what they have in their closet. So the real service here isn't like just a closet cleanse. We're focusing on the transformation that this client is going to undergo by hiring the closet organizer. Now, a virtual assistant might say something like, helping overworked entrepreneurs go from burned out to booked out without drowning in admin. Why does this work? One, it's really vivid and it's very specific. If you are a virtual assistant, then yes, you could say something like, I'll help you with your emails, or I help organize your back end. But again, is that the problem that you're solving? The problem you're solving is that you're working with an overworked entrepreneur who needs to focus on their sales, and maybe she needs to be the CEO in her business, and she's totally overwhelmed and burned out. And instead, you're going to swoop in and help out by helping her be focusing on making more clients and getting booked out instead. Again, we're focusing on the transformation, trying to be vivid more so than what you're actually doing. Now, another option you might want to consider is doing a headline combo with a sub-headline and having them kind of work together. We're going to go back to Sarah, our postpartum doula, for this example. I might say something like, because motherhood isn't meant to be a solo journey, with a subhead of, I'm here to help you heal, rest, and find your rhythm in the postpartum haze. Why does this work? Well, we're creating an emotional connection here. We're saying basically like, you're in a postpartum haze. You shouldn't have to feel like this. I'm going to help you focus on healing. I'm going to help you focus on finding your rhythm. So this is attention grabbing because we're saying it shouldn't be a solo journey. You shouldn't be feeling this way. We're also planting the flag of what's to come next. Like it doesn't have to be, a little glimpse of the future that it could be better and it doesn't have to be this way. Funny story, when I was going through some examples to include in this video, I got a ton from ChatGPT that were pretty much what not to do, even though it said what it could do. And I'm going to share a few of them for you so that you can see the difference. So ChatGPT said, our story from vision to reality, or meet the team passionate about whatever the industry is, our mission, and then include your mission statement. Your journey starts here. Welcome to blank company. So why do these not work? I think it's fairly obvious. They're very bland. They're very boring. They're super corporate sounding. I have an inkling that if you're watching one of my videos that you are probably a course creator or maybe a coach or an online entrepreneur. You're probably not a Fortune 500 company. So these kind of dry, bland, sterile about page headlines, they actually do nothing for you. Step in our about page formula is to create reader connection. So the simple prompt for this is going to be, you're probably here because you want blank, but you feel stuck trying to blank, right? We're trying to make the connection of, I understand where you are, you're here, and you feel stuck, and I get it. This is where we really want to dig in deep and create an emotional connection with our reader. Now, the reason this statement works is because it builds instant connection, it builds trust, and it really shows the reader that you understand their problem. Typically next, you're going to want to transition into the I've been there, done that, and I've come out the other side story. This is a really good place to show that you've sunk your teeth in, that you've traveled the path before, that you understand exactly what their issue is, and you can make them come out successful successful on the other side. You can lead them through this journey because you've been there, you've done that. And when you bridge this gap, this magical thing happens. People begin to trust you, they begin to like you, and then they're going to want to work with you. Now, controversial opinion alert here. This is more of an advanced tip, and I would evaluate this on a case-by-case basis with my copywriting clients. There are certain situations where you can turn this on its head a little bit and actually lead in with how you were there and how you came out of it. I would only do this if you are really needing to create an intimate emotional connection with your audience for a reason like this example. So we're going to revisit Sarah, our postpartum doula, and I'll show you why this works. So for this, we opened with, because motherhood isn't meant to be a solo journey, I'm here to help you heal, rest, and find your rhythm in the postpartum haze. Why? Because I remember those first few nights myself. They were long, hard, lonely, cracked nips, sore in other regions, hair so greasy you could fry an egg on it, and a tiny 7-pound human wailing away with the lungs of a future opera singer. It was exhausting, and yet it was supposed to be the happiest time of my life. So why didn't it feel that way? Like you, I was overwhelmed by it all. Now, the next step in the formula is to grab your crystal ball and read them their fortune. I want you to give them a glimpse of their future, of their happy life after. What happens after they work with you? This could literally be as simple as an imagine if prompt. Imagine if it didn't have to be this way. Imagine if instead of feeling like your closet is so overwhelming that you walked in and it was clear and organized and you knew exactly what to wear without having any of that stress. Imagine if you could sit down and work on your business without being bogged down by emails, and now your clients are coming in left and right. And you want them to feel like after working with you, everything's going to be honky-dory and perfect and amazing because you solved their problem. Let's revisit Sarah, but it doesn't have to be that way. What if instead of crawling out of bed, clinging to that third cup of coffee like it's your lifeline, you wake up rested after actually sleeping? The dishes are done, your baby is fed, and someone is there, really there to check in on you, not just the baby. You're not diving down the Reddit rabbit hole for every new weird thing that's happening to your body or second guessing every cry because you have a calm, experienced guide in your corner. She's like your secret weapon. Now, why does this work? Like I said before, with this specific example, I turned it on its head because this is a very intimate business. If you're a social media manager or you're like an accountant, you probably don't need to create that emotional connection or that intimate of a connection with your reader. But for something like this, where someone's coming into your house and they're working with you on one-on-one and they're seeing you in your darkest days, yeah, you want to create a really close, intimate connection with that person. And that's the reason why I chose to flip this one on its head. Now for this portion of the About page, I want you to make your audience feel like you are a creeper, like you are a crazy stalker who went in their head and extracted their thoughts and wrote it down on paper. I want you to make them feel like, whoa, she's speaking directly to me and knows exactly what I'm thinking. This is straight up creepy. She gets me, right? You want them to have that, she gets it gut connection. All right, so we've written our headline, we've created reader connection, we've let them know that we've been there, we've done that, we've walked in their shoes, and we've let them envision a future that is totally different. Now it's time to share a little bit more of your approach, your why, and how you get things done. It could be as simple as, around here, I believe X, Y, and Z, or now I help people like who you serve go through whatever transformation it is that you do. This is really where you're going to establish how you work and what makes you different. And I don't want you to get hung up on this. When I say things like this, people get really caught up and they think, oh, the market's oversaturated and there's nothing different. Listen, some people can mark off of being a Christian entrepreneur or a crunchy mom or like a dog mom or whatever it is. You don't have to differentiate yourself that way. Sometimes people connect with you just because they connect with you. So by all means, don't get hung up on this part. So Sarah might say something like, as your certified postpartum doula, I'm not just there to check on the baby. I'm your emotional, physical, whatever you need support. Whether that means drying your hair while you nurse or batch cooking healthy meals to feed your family, I'm there. Or maybe all you need is space to shower alone and finally breathe. Whatever it is, I'm there because you weren't meant to do this alone and you don't have to. Now, you can also transition into some credibility here. This is an excellent spot for some testimonials. Testimonials are really powerful because they do the heavy lifting for you, and it's really awkward and probably feels a little cringe to talk about yourself or boast about your experience. So this is where testimonials really come in. But if you don't have any yet, yes, you can sprinkle in some light credibility as long as it's relevant and you do it in a storytelling format. So I might say I have a bachelor's in journalism, but honestly, if you're hiring a copywriter, you probably don't even care. Or I could say something like, I've been working in magazines for 20 years and I've been published in BBC Travel and Every Day with Rachel Ray and Diet Pepsi and worked with all these brands. The latter one is a lot more vivid. It's a lot more specific. It lets you know that that, yeah, I probably know what I'm doing without being like, hey, here's my shiny degree that honestly probably nobody cares about. Now, one step I do not want you to forget is the call to action. And it's surprising how many people leave this out of the About page. On every single page on your website, you're going to want to guide your reader through the next step. What do they need to do next? Be sure that you are explicit, whether that's book a call or learn more or send you an email. Make sure to guide them into what they need to be doing next. For this prompt, it might be as simple as if you're ready to blank, then check out this offer, this freebie, or contact me today. Now, I promised one bonus tip, and this is probably one of the most important things that you can take away from this, and that is to make sure that you are writing this in the first person. I do not want to see any About pages in third person. It's formal, it's distant, it's stuffy, and listen, nobody talks about themselves in the third person. I dare you to go to a dinner party and talk to us about yourself in the third person. Like, it's supremely awkward and weird. And I know it feels weird and cringy to write about yourself. I promise that it's going to come across so much more authentic, so much more personal, and so much more human. Even if it feels awkward, even if it feels cringe, this tiny, tiny shift makes a huge difference. Now, the About page is just one page on your website, but if you're making these copy mistakes, it could be costing you sales. So in the next video, I am breaking down the biggest website copy mistakes that I am seeing that you need to fix right now because they could be costing you thousands.